Hi guys, this is gsno.com and I'm here with a fresh handset, the Xiaomi Mi 10T Pro 5G. I know it's a mouthful, it was unveiled recently, it's Xiaomi's fall flagship, and this time they didn't include a telephoto camera. They did include a 108 megapixel shooter, and it's time for an unboxing. It should be priced at $660 and it's definitely a flagship by looks and by some of the specs. Okay, so let's see the actual device. We have it here in a beautiful hue. I would call this, well, something like straight out of a lake. That's the vibe I'm getting here. It feels pretty light compared to what it's packing, and also the camera module protrudes quite a bit. I'm going to press this flat power button, which by the way integrates the fingerprint scanner, fire it up and see what we're getting inside the box. Okay, so once again is the continuation of the Xiaomi Mi 10 series with the Mi 10T Pro 5G. Well, so by the way, this handset has a 144 Hz refresh rate, which was typically reserved for gaming phones, and now it's entered mainstream. Inside the box, you can find this envelope, which once opened reveals a key used to access the slots, as well as some extras like this USB-C to 3.5mm adapter. Also, we got this manual here and the warranty card, and a special antimicrobial case. It's branded Xiaomi, it's transparent and flexible and has some special silver ions which will keep the germs away. Okay, so further into the box we find the charger, which is niftily nestled here, and it's got an USB-A connector, and if you look at it closely, it promises you up to 33 watts of charge, which is, I would say, reasonably fast, doesn't compromise the battery usage too much. And here's the cable, which goes from your USB-C to the USB-A. So that's about it. That's everything we're getting in the box. Xiaomi is being pretty generous with offering us that adapter, considering we don't get any pair of bundled headphones. Okay, now let's focus on the actual handset, the star of the show, the phone that packs a 108 megapixel camera, which should feel familiar because it's got the Samsung Bright HMX sensor in the mix. Okay, so let's turn down the brightness a bit because it's a rather bright screen, and let's talk about the device. Okay, so first of all, it measures 9.3 millimeters in thickness, and it weighs 218 grams. Surprisingly, these grams are well distributed. It doesn't feel very heavy. It feels a bit top heavy, but not in an exaggerated fashion. And I'm totally loving this glass. It feels pretty weird, like I'm looking into a lake during rain. That's the vibe. Okay, so we're getting a glass back with Gorilla Glass 5 at the front as well. In between them, there's an aluminum frame. The star of the show is definitely the display, and we're dealing here with an IPS LCD. This IPS LCD has a resolution of 2400 over 1080 pixels, and the diagonals is 6.67 inches. You can see here the refresh rate. It's by default set to 144 Hz. You can set it to 90 or 60 Hz to save some battery life. We also have HDR10 Plus, and inside the phone we can find the flagship CPU Snapdragon 865 7nm plus octa-core, accompanied by 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage. Keep in mind, just the Snapdragon 865, not the Plus version. There is no micro SD here. What you get is what you get, and there's no audio jack. But what we do have are stereo speakers and a pretty generous battery, which offers you a capacity of 5000 mAh. Okay, so let's access our website. Here we go. And aside from the 5000 mAh battery, I should also mention the fingerprint scanner in the side, and I think it's time to discuss the camera setup. Okay, so first of all, the selfie camera is a 20 megapixel shooter in a punch hole here in the corner, which promises 720p 120 frame per second video capture. At the back side, things get interesting. Nowadays companies bombard us with cameras, penta cameras, quad cameras. Here it's just a triple camera but with a huge 108 megapixel sensor made by Samsung with optical image stabilization, f1.7 aperture, actually f1.69, and face detection autofocus. And then we have the there's a ultra wide 13 megapixel camera and also a 5 megapixel macro camera. That's the setup that we are getting here. Now, aside from that, we also have an LED flash, and we have the promise of 8K 30 frames per second video capture and 4K 60 frames per second video capture. There's also a 960 frames per second slow motion, and well, that's pretty much it. As usual, a quick glance into the camera interface to reveal its options. If you've seen a Xiaomi phone before, there you have it. An interesting choice of covering the entire field of view of the camera UI. We also have an AI feature. This is the video department where 8K is definitely available. We have photo, we have portrait, we have the more section with a ton of options, including full 108 megapixel shots, vlog shots, clone shots, night shots, slow motion, and so much more. Of course, a pro mode is also available here. Okay, so I think this about covers it. Almost forgot about the connectivity. So we are getting here Wi-Fi 6, there's 5G as the name implies, Bluetooth 5.1, a GPS dual band, NFC, USB-C 2.0 at the bottom, and there is an infrared emitter at the top side to control set-top boxes, air conditioners, and so forth, and TV sets, of course. Now the phone comes in the hues Cosmic Black, Lunar Silver, and Aurora Blue. I will let you guess which one this is. Definitely, well, silver, Lunar Silver. Okay, so this is pretty much it, and we're running on MIUI 12, which has some fancy wallpapers, which will zoom into the planet Earth or planet Mars with some cool effects, and we also have a control center, so you can replace these quick settings with something which is definitely inspired, if not downright copied, from iOS. Okay, so that's about it. I would say it's an interesting choice of a fall flagship. Interesting lack of a telephoto camera, but you can do 2x zoom with the power of cropping with the aid of the main sensor. By the way, the typical output isn't 108 megapixels, it's 25 megapixels. We got 4-in-1 pixel binding. So that's that, with a catchy backside and a huge refresh rate. This is what Xiaomi is proposing us this fall. And this has been the unboxing of the handset. We'll be back with a full review very soon. Bye bye.